everybody, and welcome to Making Finances Sexy. I'm Jessica Lay, your Rent Rave owned realtor and certified instructor with the company 101 Financial right here in the Valley of the Sun. My mission is to help you transition from renting into home ownership, no matter your situation. I'm here to be your personal finance coach and first-time home buyer specialist. And as always, Rose Short.
What's up, guys? It's me, Rose, the Red Queen. How's everybody doing today? I'm a realtor here in the Phoenix Valley, as well as a financial consultant and CEO of Kronika Luxury. It is my mission to help you utilize the internet to set yourself free, give yourself time freedom, fire your boss, and live that dream lifestyle. And today we're talking about something that is near and dear to both Jess and I, and that is authenticity.
Got my sparkles.
Yourself, everybody else is taken.
We're super excited to talk about authenticity and the success in life and business when you are more authentic. There is power in it, in my opinion, and it really shows, or it really helps shape our personal and our professional lives.
Yeah, if you're going somewhere and you're pretending to be someone you're not, it's going to be draining both mentally and physically and emotionally, let's be honest. You're gonna not like going to your job, you're gonna not like what you do or whatever because it's just not speaking to your true self. And eventually over time, you're just gonna really get run down just pretending to be something or someone you're not.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Authenticity, it definitely is a key to living a fulfilling and more meaningful existence because it's honoring our own values and expressing our true feelings and making choices that align with our innermost beliefs. We don't want to believe in something just because somebody else does. And yeah, you need to be your own being.
Yes. That's one of the reasons that I love what we do. I love our real estate team and whatnot because we are allowed to be who we are instead of just being a cookie cutter realtor, right? We're allowed to have our piercings or have our fun quirks, and it's okay. It's embraced versus being looked down upon. But I think we're finally seeing that shift kind of starting across corporate America and whatnot. But for the last, 10, 15, 20 years, people were really pushed not to be their true selves, to conform to this, ideal of, well, women needed to be in pantsuits or pencil skirts and blazers, and men needed to do the suit and tie thing and cut their hair a certain way, and lots of things just weren't allowed. And I think the shift from that has, one, opened up a lot of businesses to a lot more clientele, a lot more workers, but two, allowed people to live a little bit happier lives.
Yeah, totally agree. Like just having more fun with like your style, what you're wearing, how you want to look. And also when when you're looking your best, you're also feeling your best. So if you're not the person to get all dressed up in dress shoes and ties and then you put one on and you're not happy, what makes you think like your business then is going to be great? Because our businesses strive when we're happy and relaxed.
Yes. And don't get us wrong. Like, there are days I love getting all, dressed up in a nice vest, a nice skirt, having some fun with it. But I have a lot more fun with it when it's my idea versus I have to for some office job, right? And it's the same thing with, if you work at a job that it doesn't matter what you look like, you're more apt to dress up a little bit on the weekend because, you want to, and you don't spend the whole week just having to iron clothes, which I don't think anybody irons anymore or anything like that. But so then, date nights are fun because you get the chance to dress up, or special occasions are fun because you get to shock people. I mean, that was the funnest thing for me in high school is I would rarely wear makeup, or I would do it very artistic and very out there. And I'd always wear super baggy clothes. So when it came time for like prom or something special where I actually put effort in, then people were actually like shocked and surprised versus the person who every day gets dolled up. And it's like, okay, yeah, you've got a nicer dress on, but you look the same.
Yeah,
But that was her thing, right? And like that was her version of authenticity, which was great. And my version was just different, and it's fine.
exactly. And authenticity in business, it's just staying true to your brand's core values. So delivering on promises and fostering genuine connections with your audience. That is so important to me. Like, I had this situation, my very first listing was in a 55 plus community, and I learned very quickly that that's not the clientele and the audience that I'm meant for. Like, and I mean, we'll help anybody, but I just enjoy my job a lot more when I'm connecting with more people in my realm, like younger generations just trying to figure out this whole life thing and whatnot.
Yeah, and you and I have kind of both been subject to both sides of the, well, you don't look like a realtor in the sense of like, well, I would never use you. And that's like, all right, that's fine. You're not my client. And then we've also had the, oh my God, you don't look like a realtor. Like, this is awesome. Like, I need to use you because like you look like me, you know? And so there's so much to attracting your tribe and being honest with people when it comes to business. And a lot of that is relationship marketing, which we've talked about before. And a lot of that relationship marketing comes from being honest and being authentic because you don't have to keep track of what you told anybody if you're telling the truth, right? And it's the same kind of thing with authenticity. You don't have to pretend that you don't go out to music festivals when they know you're a raver. I know I don't have to pretend that like I don't love Halloween when they know that I'm the gothic realtor.
Exactly. No, I love it. I think embracing authenticity, it also means embracing our vulnerability. So where both of us are open about our imperfections and we share our failures and learning from our mistakes. And doing so, we are hoping to inspire others to do the same, just creating an environment of empathy, understanding, and growth. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's less and less about perfection, right? And more about just the effort that goes in. We're even seeing it with social media. So, the last couple of years with COVID and everything, the 5 to 7 second dancey videos were really popular, or the videos that just made people laugh because it got them out of, COVID thoughts. Now we're seeing a lot more people wanting longer content, more of a story, more of that comfort content, more content that speaks to them or speaks about the person who's putting out the content, right? So they actually want to know, we talk about all the time building know, like, and trust. It's one thing to show up on someone's feed all the time, which we kind of joked about earlier today. But it's another when you're actually showing up on their feed and sharing with them trials, tribulations, hurdles you've had to come over, and building that trust from your experience and actually letting them know that, it's okay to fail. It's okay to not jump into a business and 3 months later be a success. And I think it's really, really great that we're seeing that movement into that more authentic content creation.
Yeah, I guess a real life example, when I first got my real estate license and got into it, I always knew that I wanted to help first time buyers, but my branding was kind of, all over the place. I had the like I'm your neighbor thing going on, uh and it just wasn't working. So um if you're starting a business, your first branding is usually not going to be the forever. And it's okay to like rebrand yourself. Like Rent Ravone became my thing in my second year of real estate. So, and who knows, maybe it won't be Rent Ravone forever. I honestly think it will be because this is my niche and like my people, the rave community and everything. But who knows? It could change, and our beliefs and mindsets about things change pretty consistently, but always just leaning into the things that bring you joy and the people that you want to attract.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that with the name of this podcast too. Is, we originally started out with making finances sexy because we want to talk about, you know, the things that nobody wants to talk about when it comes to setting yourself up long term. But we were kind of joking that, maybe next year we name the podcast something different because it's kind of evolving and taking on a life of its own, which is basically what any business does. Like pretty much every single business that starts out 5 years later is it a place that like they never would have thought it would have been, and they don't even recognize it from where it started, right? And
Mhm.
you have to be willing to grow and understand that changing as a person does not mean that you're no longer authentic. You see this with music bands a lot. The bands evolve and change, and then people are like, oh, well, they're not what they used to be. Well, of course they're not. People grow, people change, life experiences happen and influence everything we do, right? So it's okay if you evolve and grow past what the original plan was, what the original idea was. And if you're being authentic throughout that journey, your audience is going to see that that's where the journey's been taking you anyway, and they're not going to be upset about it.
Yeah, and it's so much easier to be yourself than be somebody else. And then just have courage. So courage to be yourself unapologetically and take the risks. Stand by your convictions. It's just so much better that way. And not letting the normies affect your uh, or conflict with your true self.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so easy to listen to external stimulus or what society, deems as acceptable and everything else. But at the end of the day, you're paying your bills. You have to live with you. So, do you want to live with a you that you like, or do you want to live with a you that you don't like because you feel like a failure or you feel fake or, I mean, even if you're succeeding, right? Imposter syndrome is a real theme. So a lot of successful people, when they're first starting out, start to feel like, who am I? I don't deserve this. Da, da, da. And that's fine to like have those thoughts, but put a pin in it really fast, because if you're being your authentic self, if you're going after your dreams, your goals, which should be yours and yours alone, right? They shouldn't be like, my dream is not to own a Lamborghini. I like Lamborghinis, yes, but my dream is not to own one. My dream is lots of land and lots of dogs. And that's okay. If that's what your idea of freedom of wealth looks like, then go for that. And that's where being authentic comes in too, is you have to be true to yourself and to what you actually want, and not just what you think you want because of what society tells you.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about like building your brand or whatever it is, just really sit down and think about like all the things that you're into. Is it hiking? Is it um finances? Is it raving? Like find out what it is like in your life that you enjoy doing and then just work off of that.
And stop comparing yourself to other people. Your journey is yours. And just like you, it's going to be unique and authentic to you. So, you might get there faster than some people, you might get there a lot slower than some people. And either way, it's okay. But embrace it for what it is instead of tearing yourself down.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not harming anybody else around you and it makes you happy, just do it.
Yep. So authenticity in business can also bring you attention. And as we already know, attention is what helps your brand, right? All of the YouTube stars, Paul Logan, as much as I can't stand him, Mr. Beast, I don't actually know who he is, but I hear he's really popular. The Kardashians, like they all built their brand off of attention. And to some extent, that attention came from authenticity. I don't know if I would say the Kardashians built it off authenticity, but at least attention, right? But a lot of the YouTube stars, a lot of the Insta famous people all grew because of their own brand of who they were. One of the girls that I follow on TikTok and Facebook is the Claude Beauty. And she's an alt creator who talks a lot about the abuse that her family put her through growing up in a super religious, conservative upbringing. So, she has the courage to be who she really is, but that was through a lot of abuse and getting through it and being told that, she was going to go to hell and all this other stuff. But that authenticity of her journey, that ability to share the pain points as well as share who she is and her happiness now, is what makes people like her, um, or hate her. There's going to be both sides of it, obviously. But it's so much easier to deal with the attention, and especially deal with the negative attention, when you're authentically creating things that are important to you versus creating things that you think your followers or you think the internet wants to see.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And it kind of circles back to people are going to say things like negative, hurtful, whatever. Like we talk about those comments all the time. But again, if you're following your values and your beliefs and you have enough self-love for yourself, then whatever other people are stating or trying to say, like, it doesn't matter. If you're just living and walking your path and staying focused on your path alone, then none of that matters.
Yeah. And I think we would see less new rich fall back into old habits if they stuck to their authentic self. But you see it oftentimes in the people that have just gotten into money. So like they've just kind of passed that million threshold or whatever, in like 1 to 4 year span. A lot of them are trying so hard to look rich, to live what they think the rich lifestyle looks like, that a lot of times they actually end up losing a lot of their money because they spent it all on designer clothes, designer watches, like things they didn't really need, but they just wanted to look like they were rich. So they were rich on paper, but not necessarily rich in life, right? And I think a lot of those people, if they stayed authentic to kind of who they were, what their journey was, and what their version of wealth is, they probably would still have a lot of that money now. But too often, the pressure of society just seems to take its toll on people because schools teach you to sit down, shut up, and conform. Your job teaches you to sit down, shut up, and conform. And it's a system that's designed to hold us down, which is ridiculous. And that's why like people need to embrace who they are. They need to embrace the non-conventional and take charge of their lives. And that's what all these Instagram famous and YouTube famous people have done. And then, you have the disgruntled 9 to 5ers who sit there and go, oh, well, you just do YouTube. Like that's not a career. And they're making, 8 times what that person is. And it's just because they took the chance. They took the chance to be who they were, put it out there, and go from there. Like Ryan George laughs about the first video he put out on YouTube because it's so terrible. But, he did it and now he's got multiple channels. He's very well known. He's a fantastic creator. I love him. But it's because he took the chance to put it out there and do something. And that's the thing is so many people are like, well, no one's gonna want to hear my story. You don't know that. So, somewhere someone I'm sure is struggling with some of the same stuff you are, and maybe, what you did is gonna help them level up their life too. So stop worrying so much about all the naysayers and the negativity and just embrace it and take the chance.
Exactly. It's definitely uncomfortable at first. Like I've watched rewatched my first few videos and but how are you ever going to get better if you don't start? So, and also it life is so much more fulfilling if you're doing things that you love and getting paid for it, like, and talking about things that are really important to you and just helping others. It's just all great feelings, and to make a little money off of that as well, like, shoot, why not? And if you are like the people that are so unhappy in the 9 to 5 jobs and then just kind of bashing and talking down on the creators and people living their authentic selves on the internet or whatever, I don't know. Sorry, just shut up. Let people do what they love to do and be who they want to be. Like you don't need to run your mouth just because you're unhappy with where you're currently at and not taking the chance to be you and do what you actually want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, if you think being a disgruntled and unhappy person is your authentic self, then power to you. But, authenticity really starts with self-evaluation and self-awareness and really figuring out who you are as a person versus who you are because your family wants you to be that way, or your significant other wants you to be that way, or your job wants you to be that way, right? So often we get sucked into this perception of who we are based off other people. One of my favorite quotes, which I'm full of, is there are thousands for every person who has met you, there's a version of you out there because every person who knows you has a different version in their brain of who you are. based
Mhm.
off of what you've shown them or how their interaction with you was. So to conform to all those perceptions of you is not authentic.
Sure.
So stop worrying about what everyone else thinks about you because everyone's going to have a different perception anyway. And just embrace yourself and be yourself.
Right, and if nothing comes to mind, like, on who you are or who you wanna be, just listen to that little inner voice and trust your instincts and intuition. Pay attention when you, hear, your thoughts or whatever that come to mind, and just roll with it and make decisions that align with your authentic self. So be honest with yourself and others, and this includes being transparent about your intentions, communicating openly, and admitting that you don't know something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you think about it, Tony Hawk is a freaking millionaire because he likes to skateboard. And he liked to skateboard so much, it's all he did, and he got really good at it, and he, was able to do a lot of trick rides and whatnot, and that made him money. So,
Yep,
like, that right there is the power of turning your passion into your career. So
absolutely.
anytime you feel like your idea is not good enough, just remember that.
Exactly. So yeah, and lead by example. Everyone should demonstrate authenticity and in our actions and behaviors, and then we inspire others to do the same.
Okay, so you'll probably hear us talk about authenticity even more just because, like I said, we do embrace it. We do love it. We are all about it because, like I said, like there are thousands of people out there, or millions of people out there. Stop trying to be somebody else. They're already taken. Be who you are, and be unapologetically who you are. Now
Mhm.
that saying can be misconstrued quite a bit. That doesn't mean don't work on yourself. That doesn't mean, with the whole like don't be one of those people who's like, well, this is just how I am and everybody needs to accept it, even though I know that I'm a mess, right? Like still work on yourself, still work on improving. Um, but stay authentic to that journey and authentic to your healing. And it'll go a whole lot easier and a whole lot faster, and you'll end up really loving yourself.
Oh yeah.
So next week, guys, as it is January, we are starting to look at tax preparation and everything as the April 15 deadline is, a few months away, but we like to be prepared. We are going to talk about tips and tricks for keeping track of taxes, making taxes easier for self-employed or even W-2, and just making sure that that whole process goes smoothly.
Episode 3, tax season.
What?